Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to hit those subscribe and follow buttons and hit those notification sounds. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. This week's movie is going to be Bronson. Now, fellas, how about we have a little bit of ultra violence?
You fucking cunt. It's just so good. The way that Tom Hardy weaponizes that word throughout this movie.
Yeah, it's so sharp. Like, it just cuts through you, and he's not even talking to me.
So I'll tell you guys something. I did not even know this movie existed before a few weeks ago. So thanks for exposing this to me.
Was that a little bit of sarcasm?
Maybe a little bit, but it was mostly legit.
No, I get it. I watched it with the missus, and she definitely thought it was too violent. Like, it kept escalating, and she's like, I'm afraid of this man. I'm like, yeah, me too, but like, fuck, I can't look away.
I'm afraid of him, but I also kind of want to hang out with him a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that you snuck exposing it to you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. This movie exposed me to a lot of things that I was not down for at the moment.
Like Tom Hardy's bait and tackle?
There's so much of Tom Hardy's penis in this movie, guys.
Okay, not to like uncircumcised shame anyone, but bro, whenever I see that fucking thing and it's like a goddamn elephant's trunk, it's just hard to look at.
You got flight control looking at him like he's a windsock. Yep, it's Bolognese today.
For real.
No, it's just, this is a sequel to another movie that we reviewed, a couple years ago, Tremors.
Oh, it's a graboid.
Yep.
Well, fuck you.
So this movie was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Evidently he's Dutch, but he's done some things since then. He's done Drive, which I don't...
really?
Yeah. And,
well, that definitely explains the soundtrack, for sure.
Love Drive. Also Neon Demon, which I have not seen, but I definitely have some interest in. Same visual,
I never actually dove in to see who made it, just see what else they made, because when I saw this movie, the only thing that stuck out was Tom Hardy. And after I saw this, I was like, man, I'm going to watch everything this dude makes from now on. And boy, was I slightly disappointed.
Oh, really?
I 100% agree with you, Eric. I was fucking pumped for where this guy was going. And he went on to make several movies that just because of the fandom, you go, whatever, he's going to get something great. And he lost me at Venom. Whenever Venom came out and I watched it, I went, oh my God, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, I would rather watch Cats than Venom.
We still need that butthole cut, by the way.
But I mean, he did do Fury Road, which was amazing.
Oh, you know what? I know Brady's going to agree with me. That could have been anybody. That was like a Furiosa movie. No, I love it to death. Don't get me wrong. Fury Road was a blast and a surprise when I saw it in theaters. But like, that could have been anybody.
All right.
He does nothing that requires it to be Tom Hardy. It could have been fucking Vince Vaughn, and you would have got the same thing. Because
I'm just thinking there's like a Mad Max cut where like Furiosa just looks over and it's just that bit from Wedding Crashers where Vince Vaughn's talking about motorboat and the boobies.
To be fair, Vince Vaughn doesn't look nearly as good, sweaty and greasy as Tom Hardy. Wait, did that come out a little bit gay? I didn't mean that.
Nah, it came out completely homoerotic. It's understandable. Tom Hardy looks fucking amazing. Whenever I saw him in this movie, part of the appeal is that you look at him and you go, that's a fucking man.
Yeah,
I guess.
For sure. No, I kind of have to agree because like every time he squares up with somebody, I'm just like, dude, whoever he's looking at, 100% fucked.
He's built like one of those like 1940s strongmen.
Yes.
Like the ones that you'd see like holding
steak and eggs. Yeah, absolutely.
like the ones you'd see at like freak shows holding like these 400-pound dumbbells just like by their little wrists.
Like they're in the background yelling, butter!
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but unfortunately, like he learned the word cunt a little too early.
He replaced it. Ah, cunt! You fucking cunts! So much. So good.
Well, just a little bit of context. So this follows a Mr. Charles Bronson. No, not Mr. Death Wish or anything. This is England's most expensive prisoner. Basically, it was just this guy who was so damn insane. He just absolutely loved being in the prison system, but also creating so much havoc. England just didn't want to pay for him anymore.
I've got another little something to admit, guys. Okay, so I knew that this guy's name was Charles Bronson, and I knew that there was a famous actor named Charles Bronson. It just never really occurred to me that those two people were not the same person,
Oh.
So,
Oh, man.
yeah.
I kind of wish they were. I kind of wish Death Wish had just like this dude just going around New York City just pummeling the shit out of punks.
Somebody fucking kills his family. He's like, "Oh, that's it, you fucking cunt! Come on!" Just going after him.
And give me a cheese sandwich.
Now, just remember, he
Don't-
wasn't always Charlie Bronson. He came into this world as Michael Peterson, but he'll go out with his fighting name, Charlie fucking Bronson.
Why do you sound like fucking Bricktop from Snatch right there?
Because I wanted to do like that
He's-
older British accent. That's just where it went.
He's got that old like Cockney kind of accent, like,
Mhm.
almost like everybody in A Clockwork Orange. He talks
yeah.
like that.
Welly, 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 welly.
Would you like a tea?
2 lumps in cream, bam, bam. And he's just like, grunts. Flexing
he's so
intensifies.
He's so mad. The movie immediately kicks off with that kind of thing, right? So he's already in prison. I guess a little flash forward. Buck-ass naked, covered in schmutz, just like 5 dudes laying into him. But he's putting up a fight. Like, these 5 dudes are getting their fucking money's worth.
Yeah, no matter how many guys they have on him trying to put him in his place, like he does hold his own. Like he's gonna get his, but he holds his own for a little bit every single time.
Oh, dude. This opening has got to be, even if this was just a short, and the opening was the entire movie of Bronson, which technically it is. It just repeats this a bunch. We get red lighting. The Walker Brothers, the electrician, is playing, and it's fucking setting this mood while he paces in this probably 4x4 cage, waiting. He knows the guards are coming in. They know he's going to fucking attack him. He knows they're going to fucking attack him, and they just start laying into each other. They're shit kicking him on the ground, and he's like holding up his hand like, hang on. Gets a breath and gets up and starts swinging again. He's like, fuck yeah.
And like the first thought that I guess the movie wants you to think is just like, why is he like this? What the fuck is he doing?
Mhm.
And then we cut to Tom Hardy on stage, and this is just all a play to him. When he's ultra violent, that's just him putting on a show for himself.
Yes, even in his book, which I read, I love this fucking movie. He says that Charlie Bronson doesn't really exist. It was an alter ego of himself because he wanted to be famous, but he couldn't do anything to be famous. But he was good at being a ruffian, a street thug. And holy shit, when he got sent to prison, he realized, oh man, I can be a fucking star in here. And by God, he became one.
Yeah, and like the first time he goes to prison, it's for like robbing a post office or something like that. He ends up with like
Armed robbery, yeah.
he ends up getting like £7.42 or something like that. Not very much money at all. And you hear his mom say, 7 years, don't worry, son, you'll be out in 4. I don't know why I did that accent, but okay.
But he was so pleased because like him in the stands, he's like, oh, 7 years is kind of a lot. And his mom's like, no, you only got to do a fraction of that. He's like, oh, that's not that bad. All right, let's go, boys. And he just gleefully walks away with him.
I love it. Like his face where he's just like, oh yeah, okay. 4? No, I can do 4.
The vibe that I got from that look around was like, she's saying 4, I got 7. What y'all think? No?
Show me 4.
Show me potato salad.
Just throws to nothing.
Here we're like intercut with like the answer to the question I guess they asked, like, oh, why is he like this? He was just always like this. He was just always violent. Like as a kid, he fucking chucked a desk at a kid.
That was the teacher. He beat the fuck out of the teacher and threw a desk
yeah,
at him.
that's right. He just made him eat the
And-
desk. You're right.
Whatever kid they got to play itty bitty baby Tom Hardy looked just like an itty bitty baby Tom Hardy.
So it's like a little Tom Hardley.
Ooh.
Yes. I do enjoy that there's a setup to this, like with his crime spree and whatnot. And we were talking about this just the other day, Eric. The shotgun bit.
Yeah. We'll go over it quite a bit, but like there's 2 things this movie does. One, there's a lot of phallic imagery, not just the dick, like dick-like object. And 2, even in resting poses, every chance the movie gets, Charles Bronson is just in a bully fight stance.
Like the put 'em up fisticuffs kind of thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
With the shotgun thing, he's sawing, and one of the barrels, like it's a double barrel, he saws off one of the barrels. You hear it go dunk dunk on the floor, and then his mom's like, Michael, and it's two English bobbies getting ready to come up the stairs, and all you hear is where it's going way faster now.
Sawing intensifies.
Yes.
This movie's not really chronological, because you'll have a lot of times like it'll cut back to that, then it'll go forward to something in prison, and it'll cut back. I was having a good time with the non-sequentiality of this. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of suffers in my opinion a little bit, because the parts where like full-grown Tom Hardy just going full-out fucking psychopath, they're so entertaining. It's like just wildly entertaining. Like I just saw a dude just beat the shit out of a couple dogs. I was just like, do it again.
Give me more of that. And then you get digital Versacolor and a fucking strip club scene with him just like reacting in the same scene as the stripper, but he's not even looking at her. He's just grunting and spasming.
Dude, whoever did the score for this movie used that as a joke. Because, like, at first couple times they use it, he's doing something fierce. He's a madman. You're like, all right, this is the kind of fucking music you work out to. And then it's just him in that chair, just like absolutely just like uncomfortable looking at this naked woman. He's like, oh, tally ho.
That was a fight for him.
Dude, okay, you're right.
We've talked a little bit about how a lot of the scenes in this movie, especially when he's fighting or there's dialogue going on, they're entertaining. This movie is listed as action biography crime. But I think above all, this is a dark comedy. Am I wrong?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm right on board with you. There's no way out of it because, like I mentioned before the cast, like the comedy that I got out of it wasn't necessarily the violent acts. It's just how Tom Hardy just encapsulates the character and he tries to just talk. So there are lines that are just like almost non sequiturs. It just had me rolling because he's such a fucking psychopath. You can just tell that when he talks, he's just trying to hold in whatever's behind those eyes.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is whenever he meets up with the guy that he meets in prison. We'll get there at some point. But he sees him and he makes him a drink, a cocktail. And as he's drinking it, he goes, and like for fucking 2 minutes, he's clearly just ad-libbing. And you see the other actors trying to keep their face straight as he taps on things and looks around. And then he finally looks directly at the lady who handed him the drink and goes, "It's very strong." It's wonderful. It's like, what the fuck? It's like a scene from The Office.
It's one of the things that the movie juggles so well. So as we're going through his life, so right now he robbed that place and he goes to prison for the first time. And when he's not putting on quote unquote the show, this dude is one of the most socially inept people you will ever come across. Just basic conversation, especially with women, just is non-existent.
Oh yeah, they have a really fun way of even showing that in the movie. Whenever he's, to, I guess, up the ante in certain situations, like he'll take a hostage. When he's yelling demands and wanting to fight, he's this fierce tiger. He knows exactly what to say. He's spurnful. He's got quips. And then when he has to talk to the hostage, he's just like, so what do we do now? Wait, we're just gonna wait. Yes, we're gonna wait. Just so inept.
One scene that's similar to that I want to talk about is, I don't even remember like where it is in the chronology, but he's in this room, he's in prison, he's supposed to be like sewing, and he's just like,
oh yes,
I'm not doing it. And the guy's like, it's vocational training, it's so you could get a job. And he's just like, fuck off. A bunch of guards rush in, they're just like, what's the problem here? He's just like, I don't know. And then starts fighting.
Yes.
Yes.
He's giving like the teacher a bunch of scorn, but did you notice when like the bobbies come in, he's smiling for like a fraction of a second.
The
like
guy
he knows
just
this
likes
is
to
exactly.
fight.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
what he's good at. It's what gives him attention. It's like this weird thing.
And then it even would cut away to the narration of Tom Hardy as Charles Bronson, and he would go, "Oh, the laughs we had," and then it would cut back to them just fucking brawling.
No, it would cut to them absolutely ruining him up against the wall, and he's just laughing it off. It's ridiculous.
The next scene that I remember, I guess he's made it out of solitary. He was in solitary for a bit, and now he's in the good graces of the guards. He's serving them tea. We mentioned it a little bit. And then who's this random ass guy that comes in? Is this the guy that ends up wearing a cardigan for much of the movie later? Or is this a different guy?
Yeah, no, the skinny guy who's a little effeminate and kind of just looks like an imprisoned Andy Warhol.
I thought it was the guy from Kids in the Hall.
But the whole thing of him just like being that tea guy and just him just trying to choke down whatever urges he has just to fuck people up is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Because like, if I could describe Tom Hardy in the scene as just like one thing, it would be that sound that leather makes when you just like wrap it too tight. It's just that little
Yeah.
squeaky sound, you know?
Straining leather.
Yeah.
That's really neat because, like, even there where he's supposed to be at home, he's getting this pride building in the prison hierarchy for being so violent. Like, you don't want to, he even says that, you don't want to be on the inside with me, sunshine.
Oh, he's like Rorschach. It's like, you're in here with me.
Me. Fucking Rorschach. Jesus. Just go ahead, big dick blue guy, blow me up.
He just sounds like Batman.
But this is where we figure out that he has become institutionalized. He realizes that he really likes prison. This is where he wants to be. And he's getting parole. And he doesn't want parole.
I love that little bit like in the middle where he's just back on stage trying to do his like little act to like the audience in his head. And the way he scoffs like a child is like, parole, scoff.
Yes.
I don't really remember what happened. Did he actually get out for parole this time? The next thing that I have is him going to the funny farm.
So he kind of avoids parole by being more violent once again. And he tells you, again, through narration, that was a mistake because instead of being moved to another prison, they send his ass to the funny farm. And it's really neat because one of the first things they say is, buddy, don't be hitting nobody. We ain't fucking prison. We're lion tamers. Fucking Bronson's like, whatever, bro, we're going to throw down. And they just come in like 4 orderlies deep while he's like, back off, you cunt. And just stab him in the ass with some sort of medication. And through spit and bile, all you hear is, you fucking cunts, as like he passes out.
Dude, he tried so hard though. Like, you know, his like first night in the funny farm or maybe whatever it was. He's like, Mr. Hardy, it's time to take your pills. And in the most earnest way, he's like, shove it up your ass.
Are we really just going to completely skip over the actual introduction to the funny farm where he's standing there talking to the camera like he's, I don't know, Brad Pitt in Fight Club? Meanwhile, there's a guy right behind him shitting in his own hand.
Yeah, I'm going to skip that whole thing because that was like fucking 5 minutes I didn't need. Like, I get he,
long.
It was like, I get he was nuts, but like they made me sit through it. I'm just like, fuck, man. And then he like comes back later on and he's like, I was like, oh, that's the shit guy.
Yeah, but at least the Predator's not going to get him.
They have a real fun way of doing like those encapsulated shots where he's in the foreground and something very odd is happening in the background. And you kind of want to pay attention to what he's saying, but at the same time, you're like, hang on, man, let me look over your shoulder and watch that dude shit in his hand real quick.
Yeah.
That actually happens a lot when he's in the funny farm where, like, not even Tom Hardy's the focus. Like, he's in the background a lot.
Like, the way they do the, okay, so he's all doped up, and they're like, we're going to turn you loose. You're going to have a great time. Look, we're having a dance party. And he's shuffling out of the dance party like,
I loved it. I was watching it with the missus. I was just like, hey, honey, which one are you? And she was firmly woman who could only twirl.
I'm a arm swing up and down guy.
I am lay in the chair completely drugged out of my mind.
There you are.
There you go.
Drooling and howling.
I don't know. I guess I'll just be the dude who dances like Rick Moranis. That fuck.
Hell yeah.
Oh, he had the moves. You know, he was getting all the fucking special ladies.
All the special ladies.
All the special ladies. Yeah, so the next thing I remember is him choking this guy in the cardigan. I don't even really know who this guy is, but he keeps popping up. Who is this guy?
All right. Mr. Cardigan guy. Again, this Vince Vaughn looking fucker. He comes over and he knows that Tom Hardy isn't crazy because he's not really crazy. He's just a child molester. And he lets Tom Hardy know, he's like, hey, man, how about me and you get out here, grab us a little bite to eat, and maybe a 9-year-old girl. And fucking Tom Hardy, you were talking about that straining leather. This is like chains about to snap in half, rage trying to get at this guy.
The way he shakes and shudders in that chair is the moment in the movie where I was just like, man, he is so fucking pissed. He's metabolizing whatever tranquilizer they have in his body just so he can try to get his mitts on him.
Oh, yeah. And like you were saying, he comes back and pretended that he has taken his meds for the day. And he's sitting there with a look on his face. And then the way they frame it, the guy comes up, sees him, and goes, "Oh, you didn't behave today. I can let my guard down." And as soon as he turns his back to Bronson, he takes the face and just turns it into like this, "I'm going to fucking murder you" scowl.
Yeah.
Turn that upside down.
I think we're like upside down. It's like the way they do it too. It's very like horror movie-esque. You have like cardigan guy, and it happens a couple times where it's just like Bronson coming in from left frame behind him and just absolutely wearing him out.
So this is right before they actually let him out altogether, right? He actually gets out and gets to go live with his mom or something.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we go, I want to jump back to the party because I just remembered a part that had me just rolling because it's just Bronson, I guess. So like when they're all dancing around, he's just like, wait a minute, the door's right there. I can just walk the hell out. What are they going to do? And he starts shuffling for the door really hard. He walks up to the orderly and he just points to the chair. And then Bronson is just like, yeah, the chair. I'm going to go sit down. This one? Yeah, you're right, lad. I'm just going to sit down. You know, he just gives up because he's so loaded.
He gives up, and it's so good because, like, he realizes he can't leave, and he's sitting in the chair, and he throws his head back. He's like, God.
He's got to just slide it in like that.
It's fucking legit. Like you said, they're getting ready to release him, but why they have to release him is fucking brilliant. He realizes that he doesn't want to fucking leave. He tried to kill this guy, failed. What's he going to do? He, in real life, got him and some other fucking dudes at Broadmoor to break loose and set the goddamn place on fire.
Yeah, like I was taken aback because, you know, we do cut to that like little inner monologue where he's on stage. But like the background videos, the actual helicopter footage of Bronson scaling the place and lighting the shit on fire. I was just like, holy fuck.
We're treated to a moment of reflection where he says that he's finally made it. Not the moniker he wanted, but a moniker indeed. He is now known throughout the world as Britain's most expensive prisoner, causing tens of millions of pounds of damage to this place.
Yeah, but you can't just let a loony run free. But before I knew it, I was running the streets free.
And it's like hard cut to awkward Bronson, where he's just amongst society. And he like walks up to his parents just like happily waiting for him in the parking area. And, you know, he gets like a hug from his mom. He's like, okay, this is right. All right. And then he like goes over to his dad, and it's the most genuine, disingenuous handshake I've ever seen. It was just like, yes, sir. But it like continues on. Like they get to the house, parents fall out of the car, whatever. And then I guess he didn't realize that, like, you know, technology had progressed and, like, the back seat has, like, a child lock on the door. And he's so fucking violent. Like, he grabs the door handle, doesn't work. This is all from outside the car, one wide shot. And he jerks the door so hard the car starts going crazy.
It's fucking hilarious. It's just showing that, oh, no, he's free, but now he's somewhat trapped, and it's fucking raging him out.
Just the little things setting him off is just so hilarious.
Yeah, just like while he's in the house, just trying to be like a normal person, his mom's like showing him like a lot's changed in the last 7 years or so, you know, and he's just like, yes, Ma. Yes, Ma.
Oh, speaking of that, he's been in the system so long, like he has like a huge missing frame of reference just for like, you know, growing and being. He walks in and he just spots a picture of himself as a kid. He's like, oh, it's me. And he like cranes over really close to it. He's like, I was very small.
It's just so matter of fact. It's not a conversation. He's merely making a statement.
Yeah,
100%.
Next thing I know, he's taking a train. I don't even remember where he's going to, but he's having a conversation with somebody.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, what you out for? What you doing today?" He's like, "Going to kill the queen." "Oh yeah, you off to London then?"
Yeah, that lady was just so indifferent, just like, yeah, we all have those days.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I'm off to Luton or something like that. And we get introduced to Uncle Jack with his seafoam green fucking hallway and red apartment.
Yeah, that was so liminal, my head exploded.
This apartment's pretty dope, I'll be honest with you. But like he opens up the door and just like, fuck me inside out. Well, and the English. Whew.
we do come to that scene we mentioned earlier where, he's sitting amongst his uncle and all his friends, like his basic little family or whatever. And these women are asking him all these questions, and they're not even tough ones or anything. He's like, so, what are you going to do? And he's just like, that was a question. All right, I'm just what's that on my drink? That's kind of nice. I got my briefcase right here.
What I have
Very
written down,
strong.
Sorry. What I have written down after he gets asked what the future holds for him is just Tina noises. It's just like Tina Belcher, just like.
It's almost like he's trying to hold out so long that he hopes they forget the whole question happened.
That's what it is. He's got nothing, so he's stalling, and he even is like, oh, look, a snack. Let me eat that real quick. And then they realize he's not going to say anything, and Uncle Jack goes, I guess you'll just be staying here. He's like, yes.
I would love a little bit where he just starts pounding snacks. He's like, oh, you call these horse divorce.
Just fucking gobbling him. He's like, oh, fucking cunts. But he does need to do something with himself. And he ends up running into his boy, Stephen King, from the prison.
This is cardigan guy again, right? He's just not wearing a cardigan. These are all the same people to me.
British man 1 through 6 is there.
The tall, kind of slimy one's like, hey, you're really good at fighting. I can tell you're not real smart. You just want to go beat the shit out of people for money? And he's like, yeah, all right, I can do that.
Yeah, you just need a name. Well, I got a name, don't I? No, you need like a fighting name. Charlton Heston.
Like, you can't have a name like that when your guns are attached to your shoulders.
Oh, nice. But I do like that. Some of these euphemisms, I suppose, that from Britain or England are so good. He's like, no one gives a toss about whatever, and I just went, all right.
Yeah. What's cool about him is that he totally looks like a guy who would immediately piss off a guy like Bronson. But for some reason, he took every little piece of advice and straw. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fight, and then I'll be famous as a fighter. Let's go.
Just is perfect.
Yeah, so he settles on Charles Bronson. He's like, all right, boy, let go.
Let go. What was his name in Snatch?
Brad Pitt?
Mickey. Yeah. Oh, I mean, Mickey. It's close
Mickey,
enough.
yeah.
Look at us. We're making connections here. So Brad Pitt from Fight Club, God damn it. So Brad Pitt from Snatch, who is Tom Hardy, is suddenly fighting this old man in a dirty fucking barn. And they're scrapping, and he ends up beating this guy. And my God, when he fucking strolls over him and he's just mumbling to himself and begins to piss, and he's like looking at everybody like, it's fucking great.
I love how the movie's like, yeah, this is uncomfortable. Hang on. What the fuck? Only 20 quid?
I gave you fucking magic in there. Magic? You pissed on a gypsy in the middle of nowhere. I hardly call it the greatest ticket in town.
Another example where he could have just been super pissed and just taken this guy up. He's like, oh, you're right, mate. You're right. I should do better than that next time. You're right.
It just comes off as, all right, when's the next one? Just immediately fuck it, I need to bash someone else's face now.
All right, 20 quid there. The next one is 1v1v1, I guess that is. Or is this 2v1? I can't tell.
It's just like an underground free-for-all. That's perfect. You know that training sequence from Rocky 4 when he's just beating the shit out of just meat, pulling carriages, just getting ripped as fuck? Imagine that same scene, but Rocky took it out on 20 innocent people in the middle of New York just to fucking get beefy. That's the same feeling that I got. He just starts shredding these opponents like crazy. And it's nuts because, well, not only is he nuts, and we see his nuts, but the way it's shot, it looks so fucking real. He's putting 100% into every foe that he comes across. It is ridiculous.
Yes, he is just going literally ape. They're getting 100% of all he has with every fucking strike. And it looks so visceral. And again, digital Versacolor is bumping to this, highlighted only by the fact that he now has Power Ranger powers. And every time he throws a punch, it's a laser noise. Pew, pew, pew.
No, those are just the power of the punches, because he's just throwing haymakers. It's almost like seeing a guy trying to gas himself out, but he just never runs out of gas.
I mean, you're not wrong. And all they can do is escalate this brawltage. And Eric, you know the scene.
Oh yeah, the dogs. Oh man, I had to have a talk to the missus about that. She's like, "Why do you?" She's not British. She's she just asked like, "Why did he beat up those innocent puppers?" I'm like, "Honey, he ran out of people to beat the crap out of, so they're just paying him to beat the shit out of whatever." I mean, if they would have unleashed him in the zoo for a couple quid, they would have let him.
Yes, he just fucking climbs. Oh, he jumps into Harambe's enclosure, and then they end up being buddies.
Oh yeah, he just catches the sniper round. What the fuck is this toss, mate? You fucking cunt!
Is that why his
Yes.
dick was out the whole time?
100% right.
He's just like preemptive
Harambe.
dick out for Harambe.
Dude, he learned how to sign cunt.
Oh no. Amy,
What's he doing,
Amy
Mama?
says cunt.
Oh God, Amy want green drink. Fuck you, Amy. But he's out there brawling, and he's met this stripper lady. They've been banging, whatnot.
Yeah. That's actually the same lady that asked him that question when he got all super awkward.
Oh yeah, back in the apartment.
She's like, "Look, dude, I know you love me, and you just robbed this jewelry store to get me a ring, but
Yeah.
I don't love you." And you see it, and just like in the cartoon when the glass would break and their face shifts, that happens on camera. Tom Hardy, bra fucking the shit you do with your face to sell a scene is amazing.
I like the dialogue in this scene, honestly. Like, they're just sitting in this apartment. It's a nice time. It's just like, I love you. What? It's been nice. I love Brian. Who's Brian? My boyfriend?
Oh man, the moment that slipped out of her lips, I was just like, Brian's fucked. Like
Who
he
the
is
fuck
so
is
fucked.
Brian?
Like that guy doesn't even know how fucked he is.
Oh yeah, he's
You know?
real bad.
But they never mention that he does anything to Brian. He just goes, onwards and upwards, eh? And he's just back in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he went to steal this engagement ring for her, he went to this jewelry store, smashed up he didn't really smash, he just like reached in and was like, "Hey, don't call the police for about 10 minutes."
Oh, yeah, he was that polite and everything, and she was like,
Make it
"Yes,
15.
sir."
Yeah, because he's so charismatic. Like, I don't know if it's Tom Hardy or if it's Charles Bronson or a combination of both, but he's so fucking charismatic. Even when he's being like a true and total cunt. Sure, I'm all about the guy.
I did feel a little bad though, because like, okay, whatever. He slammed that dude's face in the jewelry counter to get the ring. All right, fine, had it coming. But that lady who just like walked in the frame just to see what a customer is like, "Don't you fucking move!" Like the absolute loudest he could possibly yell that line twice in her face, and she's just absolutely pissing herself. I'm just like, I don't know if she deserved that, but like, you do you, bud. I'm not gonna say not do that. I don't want to be called a cunt like that. That'd probably hurt my feelings.
But he gives her the little double tap on the arm to be like, "It'll be okay. Just don't call the cops for 15 minutes. And to your point, Chan Man, you said that he's so charismatic and you're on board. He even shows you, even in the beginning, whenever he first does his first robbery, he looks at the girl, is like, "Here's a little twin," and rolls off.
But he says she did wait exactly 15 minutes, but it did not take 15 minutes for the cops to find him because he's back in jail after 69 days out.
And he goes to this place that's helmed by a guy who knows him well. Like, I don't know if it's a new place that just had the old employees, but like this guy knows so much about Bronson. He's just trying his best to cut a deal. He's like, "Listen, man, I get it. You want to punch shit? Occasionally you can, but we gotta like have like a little bridge we can cross every now and again and just meet in the middle."
And I fucking love it because he has none of it. He goes, "Fuck off." You know, like there's no bargain. He goes, "God, you're just pathetic. Like, why don't you like ask for anything? Like we could even throw a food fight."
Speaking of food fights, I've got one right here in a can. This is Food Fight from Common Space out of Hawthorne, California. This is a hazy IPA, 6.5% alcohol by volume. So this is a hazy golden color, real fruity aroma, a lot of like papaya, pineapple, peach, all of the pea fruits.
Just like when Bronson gave that one dude a pea fruit after he beat the shit out of him.
Oh no. But it doesn't have that fruity punch that I usually expect from like super hazy IPAs, but it's still got a little bit of that there. A little bit of like a mellow hoppiness, but nothing super bright. This is very easy to drink. Pretty solid brew, I gotta say.
It's the kind of brew you can just throw back and just call your buds cunts.
You shut your mouth, you cunt.
See?
That's the next thing that I have written down.
What a
it is
segue.
it is what it is.
We're we're talking about like, he's trying to make that deal. Like they have Tom Hardy strapped to a bunk, like, leather belt around his mouth just because he's just so violent. He probably bit somebody again at that point. But they do throw him like in a regular cell per se. And I guess they get a little cozy. The dude walks in, he's like, hey man, I'm the librarian, you want a book? I don't know, read something, it'll change your life. Something, something, something. And then Bronson's just like, listen, you're a hostage now, and I know they're coming, so just sit the fuck right there. But like, they didn't even give him the time of day. It's like, we know this is gonna happen. We already have a plan.
Oh, do you have a plan? What is my plan? I'll tell you my plan. I'm gonna smear butter on myself.
Dude, what? For sure. But like their initial plan was just like, hey man, we're just gonna call the wall phone and we're just gonna hand it to you. And to your point, Brady, like when he was asked what he wants, the dude is so insane and so akin to violence to get attention. He doesn't want anything but the attention. The guy was like, so what do you want, Mr. Bronson? I'll tell you what I fucking want. What do you got? He just doesn't know. He's just so pissed.
Yeah, because they're just trying to strike a deal with him so he'll stop doing this shit, because they're like, fucking quit. You're never going to quit, and we don't want to kill you and lock you in a goddamn cell every week. Just stop fucking hitting us. And he's like, no. Hangs up.
No.
So he has the guy that he's kidnapping, or whatever you want to call it, holding in the cell, rub butter all over him. He happens to be hiding butter just like under his pillow or something, and he's just like, butter my ass, you fucking homo. And what?
No, he's right. He totally just yelled that at him. It fucking had me rolling.
I lose my shit in this scene every time, because he starts taking off his clothes, and the dude sitting on the toilet, the hostage, is like, hey man, what are you doing? He goes, that facts it look like I'm doing. And of course, anyone watching this from the outside is like, he's about to rape this man.
Yeah.
100%.
And the guy's like, oh God, don't do that. He goes, no, I'm not doing that. I'm putting on my war paint here, and hands him the bag of butter that he starts fucking smearing on him. He's like, yeah, that's right. Get it all over it. Get it on my back. Get it on my ass. I said on my ass, not in my ass, you fucking homo. So fucking mad.
The point that had me like nonstop holding my gut laughing was just like, faster, 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 faster. And the guy just like rubbing real hard at his fucking butt cheek is jiggling with butter going everywhere. I was like, God.
Eric, buttering intensifies.
Yeah, just in brackets at the bottom.
Yes. Fucking, and then he turns around. He's like, "That's enough." And the guy sits back down, and he goes over and just humiliates him by giving him the gold dust.
Yeah, the guys rush in. The whole fucking SWAT team or whatever it is rush in, and he's just like, "All right, time to wrestle."
I wonder if his logic was just like, I'm gonna be like greased up deaf guy. They're never gonna catch me.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so often through this movie, he is just covered in either mud or dirt or feces or grease or butter or paint. Like, he is always covered in something.
Maybe after watching that dude take a dump in his hand, he's like, maybe he's on to something.
Yeah, that's a fucking good idea.
The predator cannot see me. Quickly, bother me.
Faster, faster. Oh.
So, again, he takes another beating, gets locked up. But now we get like a change of pace for Bronson, which is kind of like the end of the film to show that even the toughest tiger, after time, its teeth wear down. But they also still remind you, I'm still a fucking tiger, because he finds out that, you know what? He's got a knack for creative art, akin to Super Jail.
That's not a bad comparison, to be honest.
Yeah, he's going to turn his life all the way around. He meets Trent Krim from The Independent. I don't know if you guys have watched Ted Lasso yet, but you totally should.
Is it the art teacher?
Yeah, the art teacher.
Man,
he's like, this is interesting.
Well, first of all, I might have to watch it after watching this again, because like he's a superb actor as well. But like, there's this weird tension between he and Bronson the entire time, and it's never really broken. I know he gets into some weird shit and he puts him in like an awful position, but there's never that snapping moment. And the whole time I'm just on the edge of my seat. I'm just like, this guy is so fucked. This guy is just otherworldly fucked, and he doesn't know it. Like, he's walking up to him. He's like, oh, look, that's a nice pair of nuts you drew. You ever tried doing this? And he's just like fucking basically growling at him like an animal.
Yes. And that's what I mean. Like, with the tiger's gotten older, but he's still a tiger. So this guy gets comfortable, much like Joe Exotic, dealing with this dangerous animal in captivity. Almost so much so that he thinks that he and Bronson are on the same page. Yeah. They're the same. They're kindred animals. And they turn in some art to the warden, and Bronson has to remind him that they are not the same.
Once more with the tension thing, like when he's handing over his like little art thing to the warden, huge phallic imagery for whatever reason. And two, just like Bronson standing there in just broad daylight with his little tiny glasses staring at the warden just made me uncomfortable. I'm just like, when's it happening? Who's it going to tear in half? Who's it going to be?
Well, I like how he brings this like art project to the warden like he's a little 5th grader giving it to his dad, and the warden's just like, give it to him. I'll look at it later.
Well, more to the point of like his teeth being worn down as a tiger, I think that was him trying to self-realize what he is completely and just like have that ounce of rehabilitation.
Yes.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they started to consider to release you, you know? And I'm a great judge of character, he says.
Yeah, he is. And the whole time he's just staring laser beams at him. Like not a word is said for like probably 10 minutes from Bronson. He's just like looking for those tiny spectacles. I'm just like, man, just fucking somebody please break the silence. Please beat somebody up. Just anybody. Give him a dog again.
And then after that excruciating moment of just like stare down, you see him get up and like start to move toward like his fist toward him, and then the audience claps. Like full on applause from like
yes.
What's really interesting about the scene is like Bronson's actually buying all this shit for the longest time. And for whatever reason, whatever it might have been like the straw on the camel's back or whatever, he mentions that like we could be successful in this venture. And he's like, what's all this way? And he's like, oh, no, I mean, like, you know, I can support you and like point you in the right direction and you could just fire away. But I guess in Bronson's wacky mind, he's just like, this guy's going to just use me, possibly. And then he just off to the races. He fucking kidnaps this guy. It's the same situation we've gone through 5 times before. But this time, his insane mind has absorbed all of his art schooling. So even though that he's a little bit more educated, he still can't express himself without ultra violence.
And it's artistic ultra violence this time. He ties the art teacher to a pole, and he is expressing himself artistically via painting his face, creating a paper mache mask, and a spear covering his body head to toe in dark color, that way, you know, to represent the mood of depression. He puts on a bowler hat and glasses, and when asked what he wants, all he wants is music to do his art to. And what's his fucking art, bro? His art is death, and Creasy is about to paint his masterpiece.
Oh, beautiful. Now that's a man on fire.
But also, did we mention he's completely covered in silver paint here? Dude is weird.
He was giving me some like bronze statue vibe. You know, he was just like walking around like an old, like if the thinker just decided to walk around and beat the shit out of people. That kind of
guy. To me, it was just like, to me, it was just 2020 Kanye West.
What?
Now, this point in the movie, though, is really, really cool because you think, oh man, he's putting the bowler hat on him. He's putting the glasses that you enjoyed. That's a little piece of me right there.
Yeah.
It's so fucking visceral. You think, okay, now he's going to kill this man. But then you see that the rehabilitation in some facet has worked. He goes, all right, that's enough. He's had a fucking enough. Come on. You know what this is going to be. Come on.
I'm going to politely disagree. Like, I think he's the same Bronson he always was. He just absorbed a little bit of that art stuff, but now he can express himself in a slightly different way, but still ultra violently. Like, he just has those moments of like, not even self-realization. It's almost like he snaps back to reality. It's like, okay, I did my thing. I got what I wanted. It's just different now because I had an art class.
Oh, yeah, no, I can see that.
I think it's just like the same cycle repeating. Like, all right, he goes in, you know, he's this hardened, you know, beater upper guy. Fighter. He wants to fight. That's what he does. He's this hardened fighter. He goes in and, you know, eventually people start to think he's rehabilitated. And then he gets out, does something fucking wild, gets thrown back in, starts fighting again, kidnaps somebody, eventually gets out, rinse and repeat.
We're definitely on the same page with that because, like, you know, he was never rehabilitated. He just had a new avenue to do the exact same thing. And when it snaps back like that and you realize this was all kind of like the same shtick, you're like, oh, this movie's kind of brilliant. You got me. I thought, all right, you got me right at the end. That was a cool little switcheroo.
I mean, he ends up the same way as he always has. Like, covered in like paint or grease or whatever he is, and cops beating the shit out of him. And honestly, I feel like he's loving it.
That just kind of shows me I need a Bronson television show. Of course, it's all going to be fiction, but like, no matter what trouble he gets into, it just ends with him butt naked getting the shit beat out of him by police.
It's like Family Guy with just violent ending.
Yeah,
Every episode is the chicken fight.
Yes, there it is.
It's chicken versus greased up deaf guy.
Now, the movie closes in a very beautiful fashion. He's once again, as we met him, beaten, bloody, locked in a cage, barely able to stand, can't form a proper word. His lips are covered in spit, blood. His eyes are swollen shut. You see his hand come up, touch his mouth, and mime the action of blowing a kiss. And you go, oh man, what a way to fucking close it.
I enjoy it a lot because it's a reminder. Because, like, we're going on about this character Bronson, and we got excited, like him kicking the shit out of people. It's very energetic. It's basically upbeat, especially with the soundtrack, and we kind of get into it. And there are moments in the movie where you kind of root for him. This is the show us be like, hey, no, this guy's a piece of shit. He's crazy. This is what happens to those kinds of people.
Well, do you all know what happened to him? I actually looked up a little bit about what happened to him after, like, pretty much this point in his life.
I know he wrote that book that the movie's based on.
Yep, wrote a book, started doing a lot more art, and he actually donates, like, all of the proceeds from his book and his art to, like, children's hospitals and stuff like that.
That's actually quite admirable.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's also for the show.
Ooh.
It's like he gets to kick the shit out of more guards, but they're like, but he's a charitable man.
It's also noted that he changed his name not long after, I guess, the end of what this movie would have covered. Like, it's his name's like Salvatore now or something like that.
Yeah, Charles Arthur Salvador.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Now he just sounds like he works for the Godfather. That's great.
It was supposed to be in tribute to Salvador Dali.
Oh, I guess the art stuff did kind of like permeate his brain or something.
Yeah, so, maybe it's still up in the air whether this guy's a good guy who just likes to fight or he's really just fucking wacko.
Oh, could you imagine going to an art show and some posh fuck is just like, oh, yes, this feels a bit pedantic. Yes. And just some dude in the corner, it's fucking what, you cunt? And just like clobbers
Yes.
I wonder if he's, like, influential in any way in the art community. Like, oh, yes, this is very derivative of the Bronson work in, the late 20th century.
Apparently, you can look up his artworks that are famous. He has several. There's the Birdman, the Dell, 1 through 3. Dell is a Living Hell, Flowery Dell, just all these different, I guess, just versions of what his experiences in prisons would be.
I'll have to look it up. I am a little curious because what they show in the movie, in like those like neat little animatics, they kind of just look like the shit you would scribble on your high school desk, to be honest.
Oh, no, it's definitely that. It's definitely that. He's gotten better over time, for sure. But it's all that weird prison imagery fucking nonsense. It looks like Super Jail stuff.
He's just drawing that really cool S in different ways.
In all the ways.
Yeah, all the ways.
Well,
yeah.
there is an S in Bronson, so he used it.
This one's an S made out of penises.
They're just all dicks. They're just all dicks.
So, I actually like this. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it was entertaining enough to watch once through. It gave me vibes of like Fight Club and, of course, The Clockwork Orange, but also it was like 50% Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, too. This is a weird movie, and it's about a weird guy. Sure, go watch it.
I agree with you for the most part. Like, I liked it a lot more than you did. I liked it a little less than the first time I saw it. I think I saw it in that like really sensitive age where like this was amazing. This was just like that ultra violent 2000s kind of independent feeling kind of movie or whatever. It feels like I watched it like, oh, this is a cult classic. This is beautiful. These are the kinds of movies that I want to make or something like that. But having said that, it's a lot of fun in the right ways. The movie definitely steers you in the right direction, even if you're not thinking that way. Like, oh, this guy is fucking kick ass, but like the guy's crazy. Don't get too attached to the man. That's not really the point. I'm gonna have to recommend it solely on Tom Hardy's shoulders because that dude as Bronson is Bronson. Fucking hell, watching him just absolutely just meander through different levels of rage is just infinitely entertaining. On that, just watch it.
I'm on board for Tom Hardy all day. I'm on board for this movie's art direction. I'm on board for this movie's sound direction. The soundtrack, the fucking visuals. I have a blast watching this movie. I did have that diminishing return having seen this years back, coming back to it now. It's still good to me. It doesn't have that sparkle it used to, but it's pretty good.
Well, there you have it. That was Bronson. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave it in the comment section below.
Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hit the little bell icon down there too, so you don't miss what we got brewing up next.
Get out there, follow us on social media. We're everywhere you want to be. We're everywhere on social media, and you can listen to us everywhere a podcast can be. Give us a shot. We're not too bad. And if you don't, we're going to come out there and fucking get you with our fists, you fucking cunts.
Can you butter me up?